How do everybody? Got another story here that obviously I like to peruse through the papers, have a look at current events, particularly politics. That is my sort of bag. I do really, really enjoy politics. Being involved in it, that's like football for me. I know it's sad. I don't really care because I love it. Anyway, this is a story about election pledges by the Tory party. I've only read the first sort of paragraph or so a lot of this is going to be new to me, and we'll explore it together as we go on. I'll give my opinions as we crack on. So, civil service diversity jobs will be scrapped. Radical overhaul will forbid managers from hiring any new staff dedicated to boosting equality and inclusion. Now, that on the face of it sounds absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Who doesn't think that that's fair? Who would have thought that hiring people based purely on merit would be the right way to go about doing things? Shock horror. We live in a meritocracy, not in a nepotistic society. The problem is that I have with this from the very get-go is don't promise. If the Tories were actually serious, and this goes with any other country, by the way, if your political parties who are making these promises were actually serious about passing these sorts of things, they'd just do it. Especially if they're in the governing party and they've got an overall majority. The Tories have got a comfortable majority. When they first got into power with Boris Johnson, they had an 80-seat majority. They could have literally bulldozed anything through that they wanted, like anything, and they didn't. So they're making these promises. They could do this right now. Well, not now because it's Sunday, so they're not in work. But tomorrow morning, first thing, they could go in, they could force all this through, and they could ban all this across the entire civil service. But they're not doing it. They're dangling the little carrot in front of everybody going, oh, vote for us, and we'll do this. We know you really like this, and this is important to you. So if you vote for us, we'll give it to you. Well, no, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? The proof is actually in the pudding, and the reality is in the tasting. And they're not doing it. So it's all well and good saying, oh, we'll do this. But then if you get into power, they go, well, we've looked into it and we can't do it. Sorry, guys. I know we promised you it. I know we put our hands on our hearts and we said, honestly, we will endeavour to do it. But that's what we did. We endeavoured to do it. And unfortunately, that was an empty. No, that was just, it couldn't be achieved, even though it can, because literally anything can be achieved. And never forget, they locked down the entire country. This goes to most other countries as well. They locked you in your homes for up to about 2 years. You weren't even allowed to associate with your family members. My grandmother, who died during lockdown, had to die on her own in a hospital in a horrible, horrible manner. Not because of the Wuhan flu, the China virus. It was cancer related, but she had to die on her own. Let's just say I had the cough. And I went into hospital to sit by her bed with her. What am I going to do? Make her die? She was dying anyway. She was literally dying. So it didn't matter what my medical condition was at that point in time. And they still stopped me going to do it, and many other people as well. Absolutely ludicrous, right? With Brexit, nearly 10 years on now since the Brexit vote, we've still actually not left the European Union properly. We are still tied to it and shackled to it in multiple ways. So these people, during the Brexit process, they moved heaven and earth to try and stop us leaving the EU. They were changing laws overnight. They were changing parliamentary protocol overnight. The Speaker of the House was going against all his previous predecessors and precedences that had been sent by the speakers of the House. Everything was getting ripped up and changed. So when they actually want to do something, whether you agree with me or not on Brexit and on lockdown, the fact of the matter is they can do whatever the hell they want when they want to do it. And everything else, when they say they can't, is just lies. It just means that they haven't got the political will to do it. That's all it means, because it doesn't fit into what they want from politics. And this is what we have to remember. So, sorry, I'm not even, with 4 minutes into this now, I've not actually even read the article itself, just the headline. Civil service diversity jobs will be banned in a new crackdown on Whitehall woke spending, the Telegraph can reveal. In a radical overhaul aimed at ending the backdoor politicisation of the civil service, mandarins will be ordered not to hire any new staff dedicated to boosting diversity, equality or inclusion. DEI, or as I like to say, and I haven't coined this, I've heard other people say it, but I do agree with it, didn't earn it. That is what DEI is. You didn't earn it. And that is how everybody should recognise it. If somebody's been hired under DEI, they didn't earn it, they were granted it because of what they are, not who they are. That's all it comes down to. And if they really wanted to change the civil service, and this again would be a very easy thing to do, change the contracts, put them on a sort of quasi-semi-military style contract where they're no longer classed as a civilian, where they come under a certain degree of military protocol and rules and regulations. get rid of the fact that they can unionise, hold them accountable personally for their act. Because I've had this with child maintenance, they are totally unaccountable. And to be very clear with child maintenance, I'm not going to go into it. I've done absolutely nothing wrong, and I've taken them to court. Well, tribunal comes under HMRC, Courts and Tribunal Service. I sat in front of a judge. All of that was only for an hour. Fully ruled in my favour. Completely agreed with everything I said. I then had to take them back to tribunal 3 months later because they weren't enacting the tribunal order. And now, because they cocked up in how they were trying to make me pay child maintenance, they were actually going to bankrupt me. It was crushingly amounts of money they were trying to make me pay. Impossible amounts of money for me to pay. Well beyond unreasonable what they were trying to make me pay. But because I couldn't pay that amount, and I proved it in court that I couldn't pay that amount and that they'd done the calculations wrong and they were ignoring all of my tax calculations that I'd handed into HMRC, like I'd done everything right, they are now classing me as what's called a non-payer. So they are now not only charging me technically the right amount, but they're adding 20% surcharge on top of it because they are taking it directly from my wages and not allowing me to pay it to my ex-wife directly. So I'm being punished even now, having done nothing wrong, and nobody gets held accountable for this. Nobody. And this is what they need to be doing. When these people are cocking up, they need to be taken to court martials. And when these senior civil servants are blocking things that the government want to do, they could very easily pass a law where they can just sack them on the spot with no right of appeal. Dereliction of duty. That's simple. Your job isn't to push your own political agenda, it's to push the government of the day's agenda, what they're telling you to do. And that's the end of it. No argument. And if they don't like it, pack your desk up, get out. Give them a cardboard box and that's it. See you later. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Oh, and by the way, because you've brought the government into disrepute, we're going to be taking your government contributed pension off you as well. You keep your contributions, but everything that the government's contributed into your pension, we're taking that back. That can all be put into it as part of the punishment. And I tell you what, they'll soon get into line. They will soon get into line. I'm telling you that now. And they will all shut up and they'll all do the jobs very, very quickly. But anyway, under the plans, there will no longer be any jobs in Whitehall devoted solely to diversity. Managers will be forbidden from hiring third-party DEI contracts. I fully agree with that. And officials whose jobs are currently focused solely on diversity will be transferred into human resources teams and given broader... And officials whose jobs are currently focused solely on diversity will be transferred into human resources teams and given broader remits. No, get rid of them. Those people are a cancer of ideology within the civil service. They are totally about DEI, and you will never ever be able to take that away from them. And they will, whether they openly say it or not, that is how they will be applying all of their judgments in human resources, and they will be penalising people based upon it. You need to get rid of them. You can't have it. It would be like having a white nationalist, or a mid-century German enjoyer. The sort of person who admires the German moustache man who was in charge of Germany in the sort of mid-30s to mid-40s. Can't say his name for YouTube reasons, unfortunately, but I think you all know who I mean. If you have somebody who openly supports that man, you wouldn't have them in human resources, even if they said all the right words, because you just turn around and say, look, mate, I don't think you can separate politics from your professional work. Sorry, but you're not. So we'll put you in a different role instead, maybe. We'll find different work for you where you can't influence decision-making and people's careers and lives. And it's the same with this DEI rubbish. Those people are ideologically dangerous, and they should not be anywhere near being able to impact on other people's careers, and they should be watched closely. And any complaints they make or any judgments they start making, their political ideologies should be considered when it's going to a hearing. In the same way that you would do with a mid-century German enjoyer. It would not be controversial to say, well, we hear what you're saying about this complaint about this person, but we are aware that you do hold these political ideologies, and we think maybe that your complaints or your concerns are being driven by your political ideology. And the same is with these DEI people. They are dangerous, dangerous individuals. Esther McVeigh, the Cabinet Officer Minister, is concerned that Whitehall managers are becoming distracted by woke hobby horses rather than delivering their core. It's not distracted by woke hobby horses. These people are ideological revolutionaries, and they are trying to bring about a communist revolution within Western countries. It is that simple. This is no different than what you saw in like Iran or Afghanistan in the 60s when they had their revolutions in their countries, or like across Latin American countries, where they had all these socialist revolutionaries doing the exact same, highly educated people doing the exact same thing, infiltrating all the institutions and trying to force revolution in the countries and overthrowing what they perceive to be the capitalist overlords. In an announcement this week, she will warn the public sector must not become a pointless job creation scheme for the politically. Yeah, I fully agree with that. But like I said, don't talk about it. Just do it now. If they did these things that they're saying, it's like with deporting all these foreign illegals. Don't just talk about it. Just do it. Just change the laws you need to and just do it. And when people see you doing it, they will believe you and they will vote for you. Don't promise it anymore. Do it, because anybody can promise. I could right now. I promise to make every single person watching this a billionaire by next weekend. And then when next weekend comes along and you're not a billionaire, I'll just go, sorry guys, I did try. I pulled heaven and earth to try and make you all billionaires, but my hands were tied. Sorry guys. Sorry guys. It's just words. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. I've not said that in a while, but I do. I used to say that quite a lot in my videos. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. And everything that the Tory party has done for the last 14 years has been the complete opposite. All this woke madness has increased under them. All this inclusion of DEI into not only the civil service but the private sector has all happened underneath them. All these unelected MP, like Humza Yousaf in Scotland, that you could say, well, that's the SNP, but it don't matter. Tories are in charge, and penultimately Tories are in charge of the whole country. Rishi Sunak getting parachuted, nobody voted for him. I mean, his constituents voted for him in his area, but nobody voted for him to be Prime Minister. But he's Prime Minister. David Cameron, nobody voted for him to be in the cabinet. He's a Lord. He's in the House of Lords. We've got all this rubbish coming from these people. Nobody voted for any of it. Mass immigration, who voted? When has there ever been an election where any party has said, we're going to not only increase immigration, but we are going to have more immigration in 10 years than what the British Isles have had in the last 1,000 years combined? Nobody has voted on that. Not one person. In fact, every party for the last nearly 100 years has said they're going to do the opposite and reduce immigration. So you can only go off what they're saying. And what they're saying is absolute rubbish. All you can do is, not what they say, what they're doing. All you can do is go off their actions, and their actions are the complete opposite of what they're saying. So I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but stay away from these people, because they're just sycophants. They're liars. They are. That's all they are. They will say, like a psychopath will say anything to get you into the area where they're going to murder you. They will whisper any sweet nothings into your ear. They'll promise you heaven and earth. But the moment you step into that secluded area or in the back of that car, it doesn't matter what they promised you, because the knife's coming out and it's getting jabbed in you. And it doesn't matter, all those promises mean nothing. It's the same with politics. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. That's what matters. That is how I analyse everything. And to be honest with you, it's what reaps the best reward. It's like with my military analysis that I've been doing lately. People were calling me mad in my circles. I've been on about it for a couple of years now, that we are going to be going to war. And I've been giving them reasons. And now everything I've been saying is actually coming to fruition. And it's not because I'm some sort of psychic or mystic. It's just because I look at what they're actually doing. Just the words don't matter at the end of the day. It's actions. And it's the same thing that a judge will do in a murder trial. They don't listen to what the people necessarily say. They look at the evidence. They look, oh, well, yeah, I mean, you said that you cared about this person, but the video here clearly shows you stomping on the head repeatedly. That doesn't seem like the actions of a person who cares. That seems like the actions of a murderer who wants to kill somebody. It's that simple. Look, I've really got off on one here. There is loads more in this. Well, I say loads. There's about 2 more decent-sized paragraphs here. I will put the link below. Please do read it yourself. It's just a load of waffle, really. It's BS, 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 BS. We're going to end this. BS, 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 BS. Insert relevant date, but we don't care about it. In reality, BS, BS, BS. That's basically what the whole article is. BS, because to summarise what I've said, if they wanted to change it, they'd do it, and they're not, so they're not going to fix this either. Right, guys, coming up to 15 minutes, quite a long video here. I have waffled on quite a bit. If you've enjoyed that, even if you've not necessarily agreed with me, please do like, subscribe. Definitely please put comments below. That is the absolute highlight for me, is people's comments, and I always do try to reply as quickly as I can to people's comments. Even if it's not straight away, I will endeavour to reply. Sorry, I won't endeavour, I will actually reply to you. I've just slated people for saying endeavouring. And I'm not a closed book, by the way. If you disagree with me, please do write down why. I will read what you said and I will think about it. Even if at that time I disagree with you, I will be thinking about what you've said even after the event, and I may change if your arguments and your points are good enough, I'm happy to change my mind in that regard. I don't consider myself to be the fountain of all knowledge, or to be 100% right on 100% of things 100% of the time, because nobody can be. That's crazy, but I do think that my interpretations are quite grounded within reality. May not always hit the bullseye, but you know what? I think I'm generally in the right direction at the very least. But thank you very much. Goodbye and have a nice day.